Hi, I'm Lynne Nash from the Matt Cardle Appreciation Group, and we're here with Matt just prior to his gig at Kensington Rooftop Gardens.
Hello.
Hi Matt, nice to see you again.
And you.
Thank you again for affording us some of your time.
The pleasure's all mine as always, thank you.
So it's 18 months since we last spoke to you.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, a lot has happened.
Happened.
Some big achievements, lots and lots of change. What's been the biggest challenge for you?
Well, the biggest challenge I think has been getting the album actually physically down onto a CD. You know, we did a quite short tour with the Fire. Obviously, we were aware of how much time we would need to turn another album around. But this time, the Fire was quite a mad rush at the end. I mean, it's been a similar affair this time, but I think it is every time. It's going to be a bit of a crazy time at the end of any album. But I think, yeah, the biggest challenge has been that. But it's been incredible, you know, the process. And through trying to get as much control and as much say as possible, I've had to, I say it a lot, but just putting the drums down and putting the bass down, things like that, they take time. Like they take days, and travelling, going up to Monkey Puzzle in Suffolk, and booking the day with Tom, and just spending the entire day. It takes 3 hours to set the drum kit up in the first place. All this stuff you don't really think about. Like, oh, we'll get it done. And when I'm doing it, I have to actually set aside time to do it. So that's been the biggest challenge, I think.
Just finding time to
to do everything, But at the same time, it's been amazing. I camped out with Tom for a couple of months in Suffolk, and just had all my guitars around me, all the drums. We had the cellists and violin players coming and doing their things, and we had some new instruments to play with. So it was wicked fun.
So your third album is almost here, very eagerly awaited. From the previews, this is Porcelain is diverse and it's really different from your other work. So what's really driven this stage of your musical development?
Well, there's a few factors really. One has to be who I've been writing with, the different people that I've been writing with. And like I said, over the period of the Fire, I mean, I have to do something different to keep you guys interested, and as well as myself. If you don't change and progress and chase down different avenues, I think it could get stale very quick. And I didn't want to make a Letters 2, and I didn't want to make a The Fire 2. This was a natural progression. But there's some soulful stuff on there. Obviously, I did some tracks with Connor Reeves, a great soul artist, and I did a track with Brian McKnight. So we've gone down that kind of soul route, and trying to keep up with those guys vocally has been fun, and it's been a test as well for myself. I'll never forget being the first time we was in LA at Brian's house when we wrote Not Over You, or started writing it anyway. I was listening to his demo, and some of the things he was doing, I was like, what on earth am I going to do there? This is something. But we found a happy medium in between where I would do it and where he would do it. Same with Connor. Some of the demo stuff, it had Connor singing on it, and it was just like these crazy riffs. I'm like, right, how can I adjust that to suit me? And I have done. So each time it's a compromise of styles. But there's some real pop on there, with Hit My Heart. That was a song that I wrote with Ben Cullum. And it's straight up pop, It grew from something very sort of anti what it is, I suppose. The intro it's a bit left field, and by the time that we finished the chorus, it was like, wow, there's this kind of like huge pop chorus come out of nowhere, and that was the idea behind the song. I wanted to start off a little bit, and then suddenly, and I think the song really works, and it's produced by Ash Howes, who did When We Collide, and some great tracks on the first album. So yeah, and then then like you've got In Chains, which is for me it's just a rock song. It's it gets there in the end. Starts off a little bit left field as well, and Porcelain again with Connor Reeves. That's it's just it's a very mellow kind of. We've been playing with the Rhodes a lot, and some effects, so it's a little bit kind of spacey at this time.
we can hear it in some of the previews that you get this sense that this is really building up to something. You know, you're teasing us with those snippets, and you can just hear it building.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It's we wanted to show, obviously, enough of it to gain interest, but not too much to give away everything. I mean, you're really getting just the starts of all the songs, really. So there's all the big bits and the the crescendos at the end that they've not heard yet. But I can't wait for you guys to hear.
This is the second album that you've done so much on. So you've written, you've recorded, you've produced.
Mm-hmm.
In those, what's the favourite part of the process?
Well, I'm so, like I said before we started about the video and stuff, I'm so hypercritical of myself. I do find it hard to enjoy some parts of the process because I just want what I can hear in my head that is never going to come out on to the CD. Well, sometimes it does, but you have to take a step away to realise that you have actually done what you set out to do. Because I'm so inside the record this time, even more so than the Fire. You know, I can hear guitar parts, and I remember a conversation that I was having with Tom in the studio about that and the tone of it, and is there enough drive on it, and should we make it a little bit more reverb and all this kind of stuff. So I've just picked these things to pieces and then put it back together, and then didn't listen to it for a couple of weeks. And then I listened to a few tracks the other day in the car, and I was like, oh, okay. Because I'll come away from every album writing process, finishing, printing, thinking, oh my god, it's, this isn't there. That's have I done that to the best of my ability, all this kind of stuff. And then I listened to it a little bit later and go, okay, cool. With this time around, I'm like, okay, we did set out to do something and we've done it, and I'm really proud of that.
Cool. So, talking about tracks there, in an interview a while ago, you mentioned a track called The End, and it was a bit of a favourite of yours.
Yeah.
And when you released the track list, everybody's going, well, where is it? What's happened to it?
It didn't say its name, it just didn't. It didn't, truthfully, it was something that the track was potentially, one of my favourite moments on the album, and I think it could still be musically one of my favourite moments. But it wasn't a priority because at the start of it, it had this demo that I started writing with Dave Snedden for the Fire, and it never made it to the Fire. And it was just the idea, and it's so good, even though, I wanted to finish it, and I even went to St Mary's Church with my music teacher, Adrian Marple, and we recorded him, playing the full church organ.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible. But if I'd got it on the album, it would have been rushed, and it's one song that just cannot be rushed. I think it's another, for me, it's another lately kind of in the making, and lately came together last year. This didn't really come together, but it will be in the ether soon.
It will be out there somewhere.
It'll be out there somewhere. Well, I will record it. I mean, I've got it mostly down to finish the bloody thing.
You mentioned there about some of the people you've written with, and you've continued some of the successful partnerships from previous albums, writing with some new people. How do these collaborations come about?
It comes about in all sorts of ways. It's friends of people that you've written with, and intentional writing sessions and things like this. But I've been working with Ben Cullum. Ben Cullum actually lives just around the corner from me, where I bought my place, and it's because of the nature of him being so close. He's more relaxed. Like if you go miles across town or somewhere to a session, you feel like you feel a bit more under pressure to get something on the go quickly. And Ben was just like, I walked to his flat. It was like 5 minutes. So we were kind of like, and we're neighbours and we're mates and we're getting to know each other as well. So it's all very much more relaxed. So your kind of love came from a session where we'd finished a session and we were just waiting to go down the pub. And he's an amazing bass player, and he's an incredible musician. But I just got on the electric drum kit and he was on the bass, and we just started jamming and thought about doing something kind of chili peppers-esque. And then your kind of love came from that. So there's all sorts of different ways it comes about.
So lots of different influences there.
Yeah, definitely.
We know some of your musical influences from things you've done in the past, but is there an unknown influence behind your music?
I don't think so. I mean, not any artist specifically. I mean, I was
someone who's not an artist.
Well, usually just a partner. You know what I mean? It's like you straight up an ex, all this kind of stuff. I re-downloaded music for the Jilted Generation the other day by Prodigy. I think it was their first album, maybe. I bought that when I was 9. It was the first CD I'd ever bought. It was in Copenhagen Airport. I bought the CD and the CD player because I was just starting to get scared of flying, so I needed something to pump me up. So, but I thought back and I realised how much that influenced me, that album, because it's very guitar heavy, a lot of it. I was playing guitar all the time and getting into that kind of stuff. So maybe, not you wouldn't think of it, but in the music, Prodigy.
Okay, thank you. What's the best advice you've ever been given as a songwriter, and who gave it to you?
That's a great question. I guess, look, I mean, I take things from everybody that I write with, and hopefully the other way around. I think every time you have a session with someone new, they will have a different way of doing things or a different way of going. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's not your style, sometimes it is. But as far as advice goes, I don't know. It's not something that you can really give advice on. I think it's you make suggestions. But as long as you, I remember sitting with. Okay, so I can remember sitting with David Gray in a pub just around the corner from his house when we did a session together for the first album, and he was talking about inspiration, and he actually struck a chord with me because it's how I sort of did envisage it in my head as there's a certain place in your mind that you need to keep free and open, and that's basically the door to that sort of like mostly dormant part of your brain that just is there for like creativity and those ideas and things like that. And it's like, as long as you just leave the door open for anything to pop in at any time, that's a good way to sort of go about. And I thought, I already kind of do that. Sometimes the more you detach yourself from kind of what's going on, especially like travelling and things like that, the more you think about these strange things and come up with things. And it's probably like quite annoying when I spend half my time in a dream world, but sometimes there's ideas there, sometimes I'm just thinking about nothing.
This is where the creativity comes from. You do seem to be spending a lot of your time in the air these days.
Yeah.
You must be clocking up air miles at an alarming rate.
Yeah.
Do you think you've actually conquered your fear of flying?
Do you know what? It's yes and no. I mean, I'm relaxed until we start getting thrown around, and it's a bit like, oh, okay, I remember I don't like this. Usually we go on the day flights, so things like you can just sit there, either go to sleep or watch telly or just eat something. And I'm starting to enjoy plain food actually. It's not that bad. Some of this stuff.
Probably been in the air to go.
Yeah, probably.
You obviously have to take your guitars with you. We know no secret of how much you love your ladies. Have you ever had any scary moments travelling with them?
I did. Well, I had a hole in the case once, but it didn't actually go through to the guitar, fortunately. But I mean, I ruined the guitar not so long ago. Actually, it was the best thing about my brother on my 30th birthday that he threw a party for me just actually here, and we were messing about at afters, and my favourite guitar just got smashed a bit. But an absolute wizard called Martin Booth, thank you Martin, saved Woody for me, and it's.
Oh, we remember you tweeting about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he did it incredibly. We wouldn't even think that it was ever broken.
Keeping her precious now.
Oh God, yeah. She just stays in the flat and that's that.
One of the big flights you've done, of course, is down to Bali for the Miss World 2013 finale. That was a huge success, and they reckon the audience is estimated at almost 2 billion people. Billion people. How did that feel?
No, the gig itself was absolutely amazing. I mean, it was hectic. It was really hectic, the whole thing. And backstage, because I mean, there's so many things. There's 134 countries. There's 134 women there, and it was like, they were obviously lovely looking. It wasn't a chore. But I think with regards to the nerves, I think I went beyond nervous. I was really, really nervous, and everything was so frantic. I just thought, you know what, I will do it how I do it. But the trouble is, with the first time I saw your faces, it gives you so much time to think, and even enough time to analyse how you're doing in depth while you're doing it. It's not like a song that's just it's on a roll, and by the time one line's gone, the next line's coming. It's the first time. Okay, that was interesting. Ever I saw your face. Did it better last time. Let's do the next line better. And you get time to forget the lyrics and just have one of those annoying blackouts when you know the lyrics on the back of your hand. That you're like, because you've got that time to think. You're like, and the songs, it's close to my heart. I put everything into it every time I sing it, but I don't often sing it to.
Was it different going back to the shortened version of the song?
It was, yeah. It was actually, and that's one thing I was genuinely concerned about, whether I was going to go. And the first time ever I kissed you on the album, and I was like, because it was such a great opportunity for me, and I just wanted to do the best. I mean, I did some bits better than I've ever done it. I've did other bits worse than I've ever done it. Live. So it swings and roundabouts.
So that's a song you're always going to be hypercritical about.
Yeah, even as I'm doing it.
So we're seeing your work has got a fantastic response overseas, but some of the feedback after that event, lots and lots of overseas fans getting interested. And you recently announced signing a worldwide publishing deal with BMG Chrysalis.
Yeah.
That must be really exciting. What does it mean for you?
Oh, it's super exciting. Well, it's just the opportunity to get my music out across the globe. It's that vehicle that we've needed, that we haven't had before. And now we do. And like you say, we're collecting a real great fan base all over the globe. Especially with the interest that Mel brought to Loving You. And we're just kind of capitalising on that. And and the faith and the support from BMG is great. And I'm happy to be at home there.
So world domination is still on the cards?
It's still in the plan anyway.
You said once on a Ustream chat, it's a long time ago, I don't know if you can remember it. I think someone said to you, if you did have £1 million, what would you do? And you said, I'd start a label.
Yeah.
You seem to have started a label. Are there any plans to develop it further?
Well, I mean, that would be an absolute joy to do that, or to be in a position to be able to do that. I personally couldn't on my own, obviously. I mean, it's all about time, I suppose. We've got so much on our plate at the moment, but I know what it's like. I've spent my entire life trying to get a record deal and not really knowing how, or to be fair, not really being ready a lot of it, which is fair enough, and that's just kind of natural progression. But we've already met people that we have seen something in that is incredible, and they're undiscovered still now. And it's like, if that ever came to pass, that we had anything like that, or could support someone in that kind of way, it would be amazing, because you just would let them be themselves and just, like a plant, let it grow, rather than trying to, push it in different directions or push it somewhere it doesn't want to go. Just work with it all the time.
It's obvious from everything you've done, huge amount of productivity, almost non-stop for 3 years. You work so hard. What keeps you driven?
I've been trying for so long to get myself in this position. We need a break now. 3 years running is a long time, and I feel 3 albums in 3 years. I mean, I've had those experiences. Unfortunately, the experiences that influenced the fire and the inspiration for the fire. And the healing process has been the inspiration for Porcelain, not only the song, but a lot of the album. I need to take a little while to go and mess something else up to write about. Exactly, yeah. And like I said, I've been working at it for so long. Now I'm in a position where I'm gonna make the most of it, and we've been running at 100 miles an hour. It's been great, and I've had, like I said, I've had the inspiration. Now I feel like I could do with a bit more. Get some new inspiration, yeah.
Cool. That's right. One last question for you. Just something to end on a lighter note. So, this time off that you're going to have, you've got one night. You're going to go out and do something on this one night off that you've got before Will has you chasing something else. So, we're going to give you 3 things. What are you going to choose? Okay. Your first choice is you can go and see Pearl Jam play live. Your second choice, a date with Adriana Lynne. And your third choice, a writing session with Chris Martin from Coldplay.
You know me well. Do you know what? I've seen Pearl Jam before. I would kill to see them again. But that would be a memory, I suppose, to take away, which I could maybe try another time. With Adriana Lynne, it all depended on how the date went and where we ended up. But again, that would just be a memory to take away. If I managed to write with Chris Martin, there would be something there that we could take away from it that would last forever and be something that we could write with another. So probably the third.
Something for posterity.
Yeah, rather than just a little memory of something quite fun.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful talking to you again.
And you.
Have a great time at the gig tonight, and